Hopefully the best stuff.
You better believe it, baby. We
we
even cut off Gary's opening. That's what makes this podcast so amazing. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome.
Take a leak in.
You are, no, I'm taking it. This one's all me. We're pushing Gary to the side. We're going to be taking over everything. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Summer 26, a global showdown. This is the Hooligan sports / Hooligan soccer podcast, totally devoted to the World Cup. And we are pleased as punch to welcome from across the pond, Mr. Nick Callow of Hayters TV. Nick, please talk to us. Give us an intro.
Guys, well, it's great to see you, and I hope you can bear with my transatlantic sound. It's quite authentic. Still, we're using old school wiring here in London. So I'm running the Hayters TV office back in the UK. We've got 3 reporters on the ground in the US, in Philly, Dallas, and embedded in the England camp in Kansas at the moment. And they'll be moving around as the group stages develop. And we've got our reporters covering everything back here. And as you can imagine, so many games and the time difference being really awkward for us. It's almost like a 24/7 operation. So it's matchsticks to the eyes. I'm sure it's probably a similar game for you over there too.
I have to say that being on the West Coast, many of the game times are actually quite comfortable for me personally. Other than the occasional 9 a.m. game, in which I'm already up because we record this pod every day at 8 a.m. my local time. So everything's perfectly peachy for me. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
I'm still getting my normal regimen of sleep, maybe just a little bit shut down. So, I feel great. So how y'all doing?
Great. I'm just regretting. I had an opportunity to go and cover the tournament from LA. So I'm thinking now that would have been perfect time-wise, 9 o'clock kickoffs. We're looking at 3 a.m. and 5 a.m. kickoffs for some of the big games here. So,
not
anything before midnight is a blessing.
Yeah. Okay.
Wonderful.
Hey, Gary,
Wonderful.
How are things out in Texas?
Things are wet in Texas. But they are well. Looking forward to today. Honestly, do you know what was interesting is yesterday's games. I looked at them and I was like, they're going to be okay. I wasn't too excited about them, but I was surprised by all of them. I have to say, particularly, well, first of all, the Spain game was amazing. Also, but Iran looked really dangerous going forward. I did enjoy watching them put a few goals in LA. And then today, I'm actually, after our set of calls, I am shutting down for the day and I'm going to the pub to go and watch France because I'm really excited to go and see how this French team go forward and go and attack Senegal. It will be very exciting. So yeah, otherwise good. Not quite overdosed yet on football, but I can feel it's getting there. Normally with these, by the end of the group phase, I'm really sort of struggling and it's like, I don't know if I can watch another game, but it's fun so far. That's for sure.
Yeah, that France-Senegal is one that I think everyone's looking forward to because Senegal, they're sort of proper dark horses to go deep into this tournament, and France, obviously favourites amongst most pundits. But you never know with that sort of team spirit and team morale and sort of egos how they're going to turn out. But could be another high-scoring draw. 4 draws yesterday.
Wow, yeah,
8 so far. 8 out of 16 draws. I couldn't believe that when I was.
There've been a lot of upsets as well. If we just go back and look through all the scores, I mean, even from the beginning, right? I was really surprised. I mean, I think that USA game was a shock. Qatar getting the draw was a really sort of shocking result. I thought that Australia beating Turkey was a surprise. And then, it's been really entertaining since. But how good was that Spain game yesterday? Hey, well, that Cape Verde game yesterday as well. That goalkeeper, wow.
Let's unpack that. Let's unpack that, right? I mean, because you talk about upsets, and I do think that one, even more than the Australia win, even more than the Qatar last-second grasp draw, that one sent ripples throughout the global footballing world, right? That anybody who was watching that game, and it was surprisingly on one of the more optimal times for global consumption, that had to be, it was the equivalent of well, no, I'm not going to go dark. Let's just say it was a shock. It was a shock. And it was a case of Spain were actually pretty good. They just couldn't break through that last line of that sort of, was it Vozinha? Is that was his name again? Was it? His name is Vozinha.
Vozinha, that's it. Yeah.
Yes. And
40 years old, goalkeeper.
correct.
I mean, great. He's gone. I don't know if you saw that story. He had 45,000 Instagram followers before kickoff. He woke up
Yeah.
to 5.2 million.
Yeah.
He
Wow.
couldn't afford to get the $15,000 visa for his mum to come and watch. And now,
Yeah.
you know, they're talking today. He's going to get some deals off the back of his Instagram account. And he can fly the whole family out there for the.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
amazing.
It is. And you know, on top of that, he didn't turn professional until 25. Right.
Wow,
So he never had a professional contract until he was 25 years old. And I believe he then went to Moldova to play for Zimbru Chișinău, a stadium that I have actually visited.
Yeah, you've got a
Believe it or
connection
not,
to Moldova. Qooligan,
given my
don't you?
Moldovan connections,
your Moldovan
we'll leave it
connections,
there. And then went from there to Slovenia, and then from Slovenia to Cyprus, and then from Cyprus now he plays in the second division in Portugal for who was it?
Yeah,
I think it's. I mean, they're not even one of the good second division teams as far as I know.
Yeah.
Chavez, yes, Chavez.
Yeah, I mean, you called it a shock. I mean, we were recording a Hayters TV World Cup preview show yesterday, and we were doing it a day ahead of putting it out today. And one of the guys wanted to tip Spain to win the World Cup. He said, "I'm just a bit worried because they're playing Cape Verde, and you know, if something funny happens, I said, there's no way. Look what Curacao did against Germany. There's no way, even if it's 1-0, 2-0, 3-0, it's going to be, you know, a draw. No, it's just not happening. No way is it happening." So, it's the shock of this and many, many World Cups.
Yeah,
it's
crazy.
definitely.
And I think kudos to the Blue Sharks, who didn't do it with you know, a lot of people will say, wow, they must have just really parked the bus. They, in a way, they didn't. They're not they're certainly not as talented a team as Spain by any stretch of the imagination, but they did not just sit back. They tried as best they could to play attacking football. They just weren't very good at it. And even then, in the 90th minute, they had an uncontested header. And let me tell you something: does Borges want that header back? He's looking at that playback now, going, man, oh yeah, damn, oh, I had it right there. Not that he's upset about it. Nobody's upset about it. The draw was a huge result for a very tiny and proud nation. And so, I mean, if they make it to the knockout rounds, which I will now go, Nick, I will go on the Nick Callow record book and say there's no way that Cape Verde can actually make it into the knockout rounds, because I think by saying it, I can manifest that it will happen. And there it is. So I have done my bit. I have done my bit, Cape Verde. Please send me an honorary citizenship. There
that's the sort of football logic that I tend to use, Q, and it doesn't always work out. But
no, it does not.
I think this is. I mean, you mentioned all these draws, 4 draws yesterday, 8 out of 16 so far.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering whether it's this increased format. You know, with they're thinking like 3 teams could go through from each group. You could go through with 3 points, perhaps. 3 draws could get you through to the next round. Maybe there's not so much jeopardy in this game. So maybe would Spain have gone that extra yard to try and get a win if they thought it could have resulted them not getting through to knockout stages? It's something we can't sort of really quantify just yet. It seems to be a strange phenomenon that half the stuff so far have ended in draws, and some really unexpected ones too.
I do feel though, Nick, because Spain were giving everything. I don't think Spain was sort of like cantering into that.
Agree.
I thought they were going full tilt at that one and really sort of, you know, I mean, the fact that they threw Lamine on towards the end and risked his hamstring industry just really showed how much they
Nico
wanted
Williams
it.
as well, who was also recovering from injury. I think Fuente got a little nervous, and that's why he made some of those. He made some of those subs. If he was content with the draw, I think he would have reserved them for later, only because of that concern. They just couldn't break it down. Between Vozinha's 7 saves, between the Cape Verde defenders blocking 8 shots, and between the woodwork doing its job 1 time, that was it. That stumped everything that Spain had, and they just couldn't. They, you know, as we all know, sometimes the game is cruel, and you can't put the ball in the net. Well, there it was. There's a perfect example of a team far superior who just didn't have their day. And the opposite side doing everything right, putting everything on the line, bodies on the line, emotions on the line, and just and getting a historic result.
Yeah,
amazing.
All right, so let's go to the next one. Who was after that? By the way, it took me at least 2 games to recover from that. I still was walking around with a goofy smile on my face all day as a result of that. The
Belgium,
game
Egypt
afterwards was
Belgium, Egypt.
Oh boy. Okay.
Yeah.
That's now the knives can come out. And who wants to start with the evisceration of Belgium?
Yeah,
Anyone?
well, I think, that wasn't wholly surprising in the big sort of shock to the world, because this, there's still so many players of this golden generation of Belgium hanging around in that squad. Even, Kevin De Bruyne and Lukaku. I was pleased to see Lukaku having an impact when he came on. He had that goal taken away from him, didn't he?
It was an own goal, though. He didn't touch it. It was an own goal.
And then he missed. He missed a Lukaku.
Yeah.
I mean that team. Unfortunately, both have sailed for them. I have been thinking, this team could actually go all the way in 2 or 3 of the last World Cups, and they've still got half the squad up there. And there seems to be a bit of bad blood in it. Courtois stopped playing for them for nearly a couple of years because he didn't like not being captain, and he fell out with Lukaku. And in Egypt, got some handy players. So, I mean, they could both end up going through from the group. But Belgium, I've got a hat to throw or stick onto it, but I'm saying they're not going to do much. Yeah. They wouldn't be in my dark horses category for the World Cup.
No, I agree.
And listen, I when Lukaku came on, I'm looking and I go, he's the only player in the World Cup that has a visible gut under his shirt, right? When you saw him on that sideline, you're like, dude, you got to suck that thing in when they're focusing in on you, because it's. He was quoted, his coach, Garcia, was quoted as saying he's out of shape when he pulled him on. But in case you were wondering why they still have him, that goal is a classic example. He was on the pitch for 15 seconds. He makes he makes that run in, which is one of the patented Lukaku moves, right? Stand still, and then kind of with the shadows of his former speed, make that move into the center, draw the 2 defenders, and he caused that own goal. Whether or not he gets credit for that goal, anybody who watched that knew it was his goal. Without him in that position, that goal would not have happened. And everybody knows it, right? So fine. Statistics are one thing. You can look at what the records will say. Lukaku got that.
Yeah.
Right? And that's why he's there. I agree with you, Nick. I think Belgium was underwhelming. They could have been better. I was pleased with Egypt's play. The folks that I was watching with were all Egypt all the way, just going in crazy. And who was that young goal scorer? That was he was not one of your typical choices for Egypt.
That's his. His name escapes, but that was his first goal.
Ashore, Ashore, Ashore.
Through the Premier League, just one goal. There'll be someone out there desperately trying to sign him on the back of that goal, and probably never hear about him again. But it was a hell of a strike.
He plays for Al Ali, and he's 28 years old. So I don't think he's he had one good goal, and that's it.
But but I did think in the end that was a perfectly fair result. And I didn't walk away from that match thinking, gee, somebody got robbed. It was more like, okay, good on Belgium to keep fighting and come back. And if anything, Egypt squandered more opportunities than Belgium did in that match. So oh well, there it goes. Go have a waffle and a double, and go play the next game. I'm sure that Lukaku's had quite a few waffles and doubles based on his fitness. So, which then brings us up to Saudi Arabia and Uruguay.
They looked like they were going to do it again, didn't they? They looked like they were
really thought they were going to do it again. I really thought that they were going to pull another upset against a sky blue and white team. But alas.
They look
what
good.
Were your thoughts? What were your thoughts on that one?
Yeah, well, I think Uruguay, they should have won that game, really. I mean, they were much the better team. And they're just one of those countries you just love to see at the World Cup because they go right back to the very outset of it. You just always hope and expect to see them, these sort of passionate football nation, not the biggest of countries, not the greatest sort of set of players, but they somehow have that passion and World Cup pedigree. It's in their sort of DNA, as you might say, to do well. And, I think we all expected them. I did expect them to win that game, but no, as we've sort of just discussed, a draw is by far from a bad result in the opening game of this particular World Cup. So, yeah, I mean, then they're not going to go very, very deep either. But they were the better team, and the Saudis, they are always. I don't know why we sort of get surprised that they're actually quite a half decent team, but they are. So, yeah, I would say the draw was probably a bit harsh on Uruguay based on the balance of play.
I would concur with that. When you look at the momentum maps, it is all Uruguay in the second half. I mean, there's barely a blip for Saudi. They were forced to just hunker down and play, and play that low block, park the bus style. And, the touches in opposition box stat was so heavily favored for Uruguay, 41-10, right? But there was that brief moment in that first half where you saw what Saudi is capable of. And as you said, Nick, they do play a decent game. They're well coached. They do have some spark up front, and they are capable of pulling in these shock goals. And if it, you can argue maybe the Uruguayan keeper could have done a little better to handle that ball and not prevent the rebound, but that's all academic because he was forced into a ridiculous save earlier. That was the one that should have gone in by all means. And then this other, that little toe poke was a bit fluky and lucky for them, but Saudi Arabia earned that goal and earned that draw just on the strength of that I thought surprisingly potent first half. So, I mean, good job to them. Good job to them.
Tell me, out of the teams you've seen so far, and who have maybe surprised you to play quite well, who do you think could go quite deep in the tournament?
Deep in the tournament?
Yeah.
I will say this, and it's not the jingoistic side of me talking. If the U.S. can play like they played for that 45 minutes for a full 90 minutes, they're going to be a tough side to beat. That was a really, and everybody will go, but it was against Paraguay. I get that. I know that. But just the freedom and the almost palpable sense of joy that they exhibited on the pitch, that can beat almost any team. Now, they're going to have to be a little better defensively. They're going to have to be a little bit, more disciplined there. But I think if that team shows up, they have a chance. Yeah. They do have a chance. But they're not the only ones. And I certainly don't want to think that, I think, well, I mean, I always think the Dutch are capable. But, I mean, they're fragile, but they're capable. Japan looked good. So many teams can go through and make runs, but of all the ones for surprising play, the USA shocked me. I was not expecting much, and I was impressed.
I think you use the word fragile there. I think that's the key thing is like Pulisic, right? He's one of these sort of like high impact, high intensity players. And as a Chelsea fan, the same thing would happen. He'd always like get a run of form going. You'd be playing really well. You get excited. And then the hamstring goes, the groin, this, that, the other. So if they can keep him fit, and I know Pochettino took him off, didn't they? Took him off after the first half just to protect him.
Apparently he took himself off. He self subbed out.
Maybe there's a bit of maturity coming in there and saying, I just want to protect myself. I've done, and maybe is the impact player. But if they can keep Pulisic fit and running like that, they will be dangerous. I don't know about going all the way, but definitely, as we've said, like quarterfinals is kind of sort of where I think they should expect to get to. And anything further than that
I think quarterfinals would be okay. I think quarterfinals based on that 45 minutes. Yes, that's reasonable.
And traditionally, home advantage has been an advantage for teams. Qatar didn't make anything of that last time out. Quite embarrassing, really. But we see with that home support, and it looked like coming across on TV that the support for that opening match against Paraguay was immense, and the players rose to the occasion. Players, Balogun, who came through the ranks at Arsenal, I mean, he looked like he's always going to be a world-class player, and now maybe he's just coming of age, and this will be the stage where he really proved himself to be a proper player.
We were saying after that, Nick, is he's going to get a move. Monaco are going to get a very juicy offer put towards them, and he's going to get a move after that particularly.
And he had a good season with Monaco too. Yeah. It's not like this World Cup performance came out of nowhere. Anybody who was following Monaco, and there are not a lot of them, but if you did pay attention to the league and even some of the Champions League stuff, you could see that same flash and that same skill there. So now I agree with Gary. There will be Monaco will have some tough choices because they could get plucked. They
paid a lot of money for him, for a pretty untried and untested player. I think it was in pounds, about the best part of 50 million US, probably.
Wow. That much? Really? Wow. My goodness. Okay. No, listen, I take your word for it, Dad.
I can remember at Arsenal, really, I think, Arteta was, why aren't you playing Balogun more? Because he just looked like he was the answer to Arsenal's striking problems. And I think one of the things was, the finances come into play. If you can get 30 million, 50 US for a player who's come through the youth or counts as a youth player, then
pure profits. Yeah. It's all upside, right?
Yeah. And then you can, that's just how football works, unfortunately. But he's a special player.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
Can we talk about
his transfer was 30 million euros from Arsenal? Yeah.
Wow. That's good. Yeah.
Cool.
Nick, I know your team have obviously been across sort of a lot of the press conferences and those kind of things. I'm really looking forward to this France-Senegal game.
Whoa. You're completely, once again, oh my Lord, Gary.
What would you say? Oh, you want to talk about Iran?
How can you not talk about Iran and New Zealand, which in my opinion was the best match of the day? I know you were asleep. I know you were asleep because you're an old guy and you can't stay up late, but holy mackerel. Now, Nick, I will give Nick a pass on that game because it was at like 4 a.m. for him. So he doesn't have to, he doesn't have to comment, even though I will say this, Nick, it almost looks like you've got a fern on your crust there. So I know it's a gunner, but let's say you're a New Zealand fan.
Yeah. It's, well, I don't know what's being said over there, but I didn't see that match because it was on when I was asleep, but, the main talking points about that has been the anger of the Iran manager about them having to travel back straight after the game, not get their rest time, getting kicked back out to Mexico, and that's been one of the main World Cup stories in the UK today. The oppressed Iranian team, and all the protests outside the ground, and it's been the non-football story that's been picked up.
It does feel like they are at a competitive disadvantage with sort of having to sort of change on those kind of things and that. And also 100%. They haven't played since whenever it was February or whenever it was their last game, right? So
17 Iranian players play inside their domestic leagues, which means that they have not had any competitive football since February, right?
Yeah.
They did actually go back through their Rolodex and find as many Iranian players that met the criteria that played outside so they could have some fitness. That said, the match itself did not show an Iran team that was, I'm not saying they were at their best, but it looked like a typical Iran play. A little gritty, a little tough. Mehdi Taremi is an absolute, he's wonderful. He is their spark. He is their heart. He showed that in this match multiple times. I was just surprised at New Zealand. They are the lowest ranked team in the World Cup. They're really not expected to do much. And this player who came out, that first goal that was scored, if that had not been a New Zealand team, if that had been a South American team, people would have been jumping out of their chairs talking about the lovely South American flair and the touch and the this. But because it was the Kiwis there, they were just like, all right. I mean, because that's a New Zealand mentality. They never, the tall poppy syndrome. No, don't celebrate too much. Don't be too special. But Lord Almighty, was that kid fantastic? And I mean, he got a brace, and he is probably going to be going somewhere. I believe he plays in the Scottish. He's in the Scottish League, Scottish Premiership with Motherwell, and the rumors are that, of course, either Rangers or Celtic are going to try and make a big push for him. Yeah, Elijah Just, 25 years old.
Great name
Looks
as
like
well.
he looks like he's 12, but what a story he is. And if he has more games where he scores, his value is going to just absolutely skyrocket.
Yeah, there's going to be some great documentaries coming out of this World Cup for tiny little unstoried, unhistoried sort of teams. You know, their journeys to get from where they were in New Zealand or Iran or Haiti or wherever it is to this World Cup and making an impact. I think the documentary makers are going to have a field day out of this World
Yeah.
Cup. There's so many different stories I'd like to hear more about. So many players with these great backstories.
Yeah.
And great names.
But I do want to give shout out to that game because it was phenomenal. And yeah, the protesters were silly outside the stadium, and I mean, honestly, for all of the vitriol and the residual anger that the Iranian diaspora has towards the current regime, and I think it's justified. You do have to also ask yourself, how many of them would legitimately go back to Iran if they were given the opportunity after living in Los Angeles for almost a generation and a half? I think that number's pretty damn low. It's a performative anger, in my opinion. But there he is. That's enough that I will say about the politics. Gary, I believe you wanted to talk about France, Senegal.
There we go. Yeah,
there's no history there. There's no history or animosity between these two countries. So it's all brotherhood and love.
There's no cultural links at all between Senegal or France at all in any way, right?
No,
of course. I'm again. This is out of all of the sort of first round of group phases. This aside from the England-Croatia game and the Brazil-Morocco game, were the three sort of like one of the three that I'm most excited to look forward to. I really am interested to see how France line up, how Deschamps sets up that embarrassment of riches that they have in terms of those that sort of like forward line of front 4 or 5, however many he wants to throw at them. And then also conversely, like Senegal are also going to go at them as well. This is going to be exciting. And I think, the one thing I know that this for me, this is like Mbappe's ability or opportunities to sort of change the narrative with him, right? All of the stuff that happened last season at Real Madrid, there's all this sort of hate coming out of sort of the Real Madrid fan base. And wasn't it something like 7 million signatures sort of on a petition to get him to leave Real Madrid? And he did say, and I think, Nick, maybe one of your guys were there and maybe you guys came across this. Apparently, again, half of what we read on X now, I don't know, it's all half of it's all bullshit, so I don't know if it's true or not. But he did say, I need to work more on my defensive side. If we're going to win the World Cup, I need to be better defensively. So it was really encouraging to hear. And I hope, because I'm a big Mbappe fan, I hope that he has a good game and sort of, scores a lot of absolute bangers, because he is a really special player in my opinion. But yeah, exciting game.
Yeah, I mean, those comments sort of made huge headlines, didn't they? Because I think you forget how young this guy is. He's gone from France and to Madrid, the so-called biggest club in the world, where every match is a final, every match the spotlight is so intense, and the crowd are the most unforgiving, horrible fans, really, when you think about it. I mean, great passionate fans, but would you really want to play for such a fickle bunch of fans as the Real Madrid ones? That I personally, I'll probably never.
Not like Arsenal fans, are they, Nick? Okay? Nothing like an Arsenal fan, right?
Yeah. But this is the thing. So I was, Emmanuel Petit, the 1998 World Cup winner, an Arsenal double winner that season too. He was on the radio this morning. They were having this very same sort of conversation, and he said this was a big thing for Mbappé to say, that he realised he's got to work harder defensively, become more of a team player. And he was sort of saying, he's been in dressing rooms in France where there's some big egos. And he just thinks with Didier Deschamps, the proven World Cup winning manager and player, in his last World Cup, it's the perfect time, the perfect storm for France to come together as one, to put egos aside. And he was saying how Deschamps has got the presence, the power and the authority and the credibility with players like Mbappe, like with all of them, to say, well, look, you might not start the game, but you're going to be a sub finisher. This is what I want. You're just going to do what you're told. Shut your mouth for a few weeks. I'm in charge. Do what you're told. We'll win the World Cup, and then you can do what you can say what you like, do what you like, and play as I'm going to say. And trust me, we will win it. I think. Yeah, I mean, Mbappé was. I mean, he was brilliant in the last World Cup, by the way, as well. It's not like I mean, it just seemed like the arguments at Real Madrid, I don't think have anything to will have any impact on what happens with him in the States this summer.
Yeah. Do you?
I mean, this should be a quarter final really. This game, shouldn't it? France against Senegal.
Yes. It should.
It should. Yeah, it should. It's going to be exciting. I'm just curious to see how Deschamps lines them up, because you'd think that he's going to start his strongest front line, particularly to go at Senegal as well, and he's not going to sort of hold anyone back. I know he's got a lot of options in terms of the rotation, but yeah, I think this will be a really exciting game. And so after our barrage of calls, I am heading downtown and going to go and find the French bar and go and enjoy joy with the French fans for sure.
Lucky you. That sounds great.
And then there's the other striker superstar as well, Erling Haaland as well, against Iraq. And this is, again, Norway. We keep mentioning dark horses, and I think Norway are really dangerous. They are very, very dangerous and could actually go quite deep in this competition and surprise everyone, I think.
Yeah. I mean, if it's one of those one-sided games like the Germany game, Erling Haaland could win the Golden Boot in one match tonight. And he could score 4 or 5 goals, because we know he's capable of doing that in individual games. And if he gets the right supply, and they've got that young winger Nusa, who's really, I think he's at Leipzig, isn't he? Who I haven't seen much of, but apparently he is really super, super talented. And he's the sort of player, I believe, who can supply the sort of chances from the wing that Haaland just will gobble up. And maybe this will be one of those non-surprise games where Norway, who are not the greatest team in Europe by any stretch, but they've got some quality players in Haaland, of course, Martin Odegaard as well. This could be another one of those 4, 5, 6s, and I would find it hilarious if Haaland won the Golden Boot in one match. That's my prediction.
This new format, though, as well. This new format kind of enables that, doesn't it, as well? And since because I think is it Miroslav Klose and Miroslav Klose is kind of still got the golden. I think he's the leader.
He's the overall goal.
Yeah, overall goal strike. But to your point, Nick, right? I think it's only like 16 or something like that as well. If he can go as he gets 4 or 5 here and then picks up another couple, he could easily sort of like do nearly half of that just in one World Cup, right? And sort of be on the way to being there. The other one I'm really looking forward to is the choir boy Jens Petter Hauge, who plays for Bodo Glimt. Do you remember him? He's this really good team player who's did quite well in the Champions League as well. And I think he and Haaland linking up, he'll be. So you talk about supply to Haaland. He's also going to be an interesting player. I'm a big fan of his. And then just looking through the side, I mean, Oscar Bob for now Fulham was Man City. Obviously, your beloved Odegaard as well. There, Nick as well. It's a good team. They are very, very good.
Yeah, I mean,
I agree.
You know much about Iraq, Hugh? You're probably a Iraq expert, are you?
An Iraq expert? Wow.
Q's always for the underdog. Qooligan is always for the underdog. He was always for the underdog.
I am usually always for the underdog, but I confess that the depth of my knowledge kind of stops at Iraq. I know far more. I will say I know far more about the Iranian team than I do about the Iraqi team. Only because I did a little bit more research into it. I mean, all of Iraq's main stars, main players are expat, right? So they're all born outside of Iraq, but still represent the country. And we're talking about players like Zidane Iqbal, who currently plays for Utrecht, but was a product of the Manchester Academy. So he was born in Manchester, went through the United Academy, to be clear. Then there's also Marco Fargi, plays for Venezia, but he's born in Norway and was raised through the Norwegian system. In fact, played alongside, only a year behind Erling Haaland. So he used to play with him and some of the other younger teams out of Norway. So that's an interesting little twist there. And Ali Al-Hamadi, who plays for Luton Town currently. He's a Scouser. Scouser born. And so, see what happens. But those are the 3 biggest names that I know from the Iraqi team. And the rest that play on the Iraqi side, got nothing, man. It's just crickets. It's hard to find info.
3 more than me and Gary, I think.
Yeah, it's funny you say that,
Sorry.
Qooligan. No, it's funny you're mentioning the Scouser playing for Iraq as well, because I love how these Scousers manage to find their ways into these international teams. Isn't
They're
it? Robinson for
everywhere.
the US.
They're everywhere. You can't get rid of them.
Robinson for the US as well. And he comes out in an interview. It's like, whoa, there's this thick Scouse accent coming out.
Yeah.
It's hilarious. It really is, yeah.
I mean, it's a melting pot city. Why not? I mean, it's like you grow up and you're in the academy. It's, it'll be good.
Yeah, and then there's defending champions as well kicking off this evening as well, which is also I mean, again,
we got an Argentina game.
Yeah,
Something
we keep
happening there
mentioning-
with a little guy named Messi.
keep mentioning dark horses, but like they've really gone under the radar. I know France and Spain seem to be sort of taking all the attention and the spotlight away, but I mean, just looking at this team, they're good. They're really good, and there's no reason why they can't go all the way and defend their title here. I don't know, Nick. Do you have any sort of thoughts on Argentina?
My colleague Stan Smith, no relation to the tennis player, is covering England. And they're in, so I think their Argentina training camp's only 25-minute drive from where England are, and he was over that way yesterday. And with the welcome the Argentina fans gave to the squad, it was just like, I mean, I don't know if you've ever seen Argentina fans at a football match, but there's few better, louder, more colourful. They're fantastic, and it was almost like they were at a final and they were just welcoming the team to their training camp. It's fantastic. I mean, I would love to be at that Argentina match just for the atmosphere, because wherever they play, their fans go and they create a fantastic atmosphere, colour, noise, and carnival time. So, and that can carry the team. They've still got, I mean, I haven't seen a lot of Messi since he's been playing MLS, but he still seems to deliver the numbers. If anyone's going to feel comfortable playing out the conditions out there, it's him. And they've got a team littered with sort of proven winners. So I don't know what their route is like, but nothing would surprise me if they go very deep in the tournament. Yeah.
And, and Algeria is also playing. They're also training in Kansas. They're down in Lawrenceville, which is the home of. Yeah, it's exactly. And the news reports here in the U.S. have been doing a lot about the way Lawrenceville is not a very big town, and it exists for one reason, and that is the university's Jayhawks basketball team is about the only thing that matters in that town, and they just decided, let's embrace Algeria. The marching band for the university learned the Algerian national anthem and played it for them when they were coming into the training facilities. The towns, all sporting Algeria kits and various things. So they've really been adopted. So I think there's going to be a bit more Algeria support in that stadium than people think.
Wow.
And I hope that is the case, that there's a whole section decked out in green and white. It would be nice to see. But I think Algeria's got no chance against Argentina in this one. You never know. There have been some odd results, but this one I do feel is probably Argentina's.
Yeah, well, Argentina,
to win.
They have been historically guilty of getting a bit ahead of themselves, cocky in these sort of group games, and I'm struggling to think of all the examples. But
Saudi Arabia last year, right? They lost their opener.
Sorry,
that's it. Yeah. I don't think that happens again. I don't think Scaloni lets that happen again. I think that he's been doing an intentionally under the radar, Gary, I believe, and I think that's intentional. I think he's been really downplaying, and in a way, he got a lot of criticism for in their friendlies that they were playing really small minnow teams that they should be, and that might end up working in their favor, because if they were to be playing big name teams and not winning, that could get into their psyche. Now, they didn't necessarily do great against some of these teams either, right? I mean, Mauritania was the better team in the second half against Argentina's first side. So we'll wait and see exactly whether Scaloni's approach will bear fruit or not. But either way, I think the Algeria match and the Algeria fixture should be a comfortable one for them to start on. We'll just have to wait and see whether they can deliver.
We've seen a lot of draws and upsets as well. I think this also has the potential to be a sort of score draw and a shock result here.
That's true. And I think that just for completeness sake, we should mention there is a game afterwards between Austria and Jordan. And yes, Nobody really cares about that one. Sorry to all the Austrian and Jordan fans out there. It's
Don't
being
wake me
played
up
in
for
my
that one.
backyard at the Bay Area, at the San Francisco Bay Area Stadium. And I'm sure there will have people there. And I think for everybody's sake, it is at least a night game. It is at 9 p.m. local time, my time. I know Gary's going to stay up till 11 p.m. to watch that game. Despite all the drinking that he will do against Senegal,
three
he will have
back-to-back
time.
games,
He will have time to take a few Advil, have a nap, and still make it back and watch that one. No, it's a meh match.
Yeah, this is.
It's
I
a
think
match that has to happen.
That's one of our 5 a.m. ones here in UK. So
you're up early, right? You're going to get.
I'll be going to sleep straight after this and setting the alarm for that one. Yeah. The other one, I can catch up the other ones later.
Yeah, a true hooligan, Nick. I like it. I like it a lot.
Absolutely, that's why I'm here, isn't it?
Very good, very good. And that's it. I mean, that's all we got. That's we're at time. We've hit our limit. We've talked about the 4 games previous, the 4 games up and coming. Nick, thank you so much for joining us. Tell us again where people can go and listen to all the great stuff the Hayters does.
So Hayters with a Y. So it's Hayters, named after the great Reg Hayter. Our YouTube channel's got a lot of the press conferences and training activity and shows not quite as good as this, but guys like me talking about what's going on with the World Cup with our reporters out there. And it's Hayters TV on all social channels too. So and it's an honor to be part of the Hooligan family as well.
And we love having you.
Nick, always a pleasure.
So for those who are listening at home, like, follow, subscribe, hooligan-soccer.com. We have all the Hayters words. We have other words. Yeah. We have podcasts.
What about the green mic?
And see, look at that. He's rocking the green mic. And so go listen, follow, subscribe, and love the beautiful game, ladies and gentlemen.
Absolutely.
Very good.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
Beautiful.
Signing off.
All right, Nick. Good to see you. Take care, guys.
Nice to see you.
Peace.
Anytime. Just give us a shout.